Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Elbow Nudge Podcast. This is episode 26. And today we're doing our Ghibli journey by watching the movie.
Say it. Castle in the Sky.
Yes, thank you, Caroline. We did not practice that. We're watching Castle in the Sky. We
We're
saw it. We're
watching.
talking about it today.
Yep, we watched Castle in the Sky. Uh,
I want to see how quickly you would either respond to that or
not quick at all, as you can see by the waveform. It was like 5 whole seconds.
we don't rehearse
Nah, not
at
at
all.
all.
Mhm.
If we did, we might have a pretty
A
interesting
coherent,
opening. Yeah,
yeah,
but no, that's not us.
no.
Just fly off the seat of our pants kind of thing. But yeah, this is the first Studio Ghibli film made. This is the first one. And it's also your second Studio Ghibli film to watch.
That's right.
So let's just jump into it. What did you think about this movie, Tom?
Hmm. Well, I must say, not as impressive as Spirited Away.
Yeah. I think we're gonna have to just get
Get it
that
out.
out there.
Yeah, get
Yeah,
out the way.
it is not. You know what? I didn't remember the anime isms in this movie.
There are animeisms.
Yes, there are. And I wonder if that's. I was thinking about this kind of all night. I wonder if the animeisms in this movie are what inspired the animeisms in the anime community later on. Because this movie came out in 1986. So this is before like the big old shows. I think maybe like Gundam was around, but this was also like before popular animes like Inuyasha and Cardcaptor Sakura and this is like before Cowboy Bebop, and these are all like
That's the
classic
oldest one I
animes.
was gonna bring up. I'm like, how old is Cowboy Bebop? That's gotta be pretty old.
I feel
80s,
like
right?
that's a 90s, but give me some time. Oh, this is yeah, Cowboy Bebop is 1998. So, yeah, this is much later than 1986 with Castle in the Sky. So, I was thinking, I wonder if the stuff in this movie is what inspired a lot of the tropes that kind of developed later on in the anime community.
So what are animeisms when we say that?
Those will be moments where you'll have some more over expressiveness or like kind of Captain Obvious quotes. You know what I mean? Like lines that point out things, a more of tell instead of show, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple scenes like that, mostly coming from Patsu.
Yes, Patsu is definitely the anime protagonist in all of
Yeah.
itself, in every essence of the word for this movie.
It has more than Spirited Away, but not much on its own.
Yeah, I think if
The
you were to
animeisms.
compare it to other animes, it's still relatively less, but it is interesting to go from Spirited Away, which had none of it. Spirited Away is a very quiet film and scenic, and it gets you thinking. You have to piece together the story in your own head. It's not going to straight up tell you like Chihiro's trapped in the spirit world and needs to find a way to rescue your parents. Like they're not going to do that. But in Castle in the Sky, it's clearly stated where it's like they're after you because of your crystal, and you need to run away from them. Like you're the princess of this city and things like
This
that. Like
crystal helps you when you're in danger.
yeah, this crystal helps you when you're in danger, and
It's okay, we'll float down safely.
it's gonna protect you.
All of those weren't very over the top, though. I think it was fine. But it was definitely different from how Spirited Away was told.
It's interesting to see the difference because what's the time span between this 2001 and 1986? 15 years is the difference between these two films, and it's really amazing to see the difference even in like the animation. Spirited Away is a lot more crisp, and the colors are a little bit more. I feel like in this movie, in Castle in the Sky, it's very I don't know what the term is, but like the funny thing is those are the Ghibli colors. You have that rich blue, the pink, the bright yellow, the what's it called? Even like when they're on that kite and that kite is pink. A lot of those colors, the same kind of color study could be done for like Howl's Moving Castle. That's the same color palette is used in that film. Even like the gem has like that tealness. I was just noticing that like when it came to the color palette, but When it comes to like Spirit Away, it can be a little bit more darker tones. There's a little bit more contrast in the color of the animation and things like that. That was just something I was observing about the two movies and how they evolved.
I see what you're talking about in the cover of the other movies. You see the colors that you're mentioning.
Yeah.
A lot of those lighter blues I'm thinking of right now. But I want to say, or no, I want to ask you.
Mhm.
You were also saying this in a way. You were saying like this movie would be more up my alley, or you're like recommending it. Is it only for the pirate thing, or is it more past that?
It was more of that it had more action. It had more Yeah, it was the pirate thing was definitely part of it, but it was also that it had a little bit more action in it. It had a little bit more of a straightforward story. I feel also Spirit Away is very Japanese because it has a lot of the Japanese symbolisms and set in a bathhouse and things like that. Whereas Castle in the Sky is a little bit more neutral fantasy ground, like steampunk y kind of thing.
I like the steampunk stuff in this movie. I like the flying machines. I don't know if they have a specific name, but that's a very steampunk thing, like a big
Yeah.
flying blimp or a big flying. In this case, it was like insect inspired flying machine.
Yeah, with the wings and they were flapping and things like that.
It was reminding me of this game that I played very, very briefly on PC. It was called Guns of Icarus, I believe. And it was a cool game because it's kind of like Sea of Thieves in a way where you're flying with the crew and you have to, like, everyone has their own roles and you're supposed to be, contributing by like being the engineer or being like the pilot or being this or that. And I was thinking about that in this movie. I was thinking, all right, when they're being shot at, people are scrambling and doing different things. Like somebody's taking posts to be the observer. Some people are like at the wheel to make sure they don't crash land and things like that. I like that kind of stuff. I feel like I don't know if that was. I don't think it has like a strong theme in this movie though. I don't think this is like a steampunk movie, but that's just like a small aspect that I liked of it.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of steampunk inspired designs when it comes to like Podzu working on the boiler room and like all the kind of engineering stuff that's in it.
But yeah, and also the action. We spoke about it when we were talking about Spirited Away. I don't need the action, Carolyn.
Yeah, yeah, I know you don't. It was
Not
just
necessary.
this was just a little bit more of a something to I don't know. It was kind of more fast paced than Spirit Away was.
Yeah. The pacing actually got my attention because it starts off very fast. You jump
Mhm.
right in. There's action going on. There's Sheeta is escaping this strange organization that we don't know yet, and then she meets Patsu, and then they're on the hunt again. They're being chased. It's really fast, and then it takes a sudden halt when it gets to Dola and her gang, and then
Mhm.
they kind of like partner up. It really slows down, and then they're on this flying machine. I don't know if it had a name. I know the Goliath had a name. I don't know if theirs had a
Yeah,
name.
I was thinking about that. Like, what's that ship name? But they didn't call it anything.
Nah. But yeah, then that's when they take time to just talk, to plan, to show like this is where you do the dishes. The boys get really hungry, and then like, all right, we're gonna sleep in shifts here. I'm gonna take over for you. That's when it really slowed down, and I liked it. I liked that segment, but I did notice the tonal shift was quick. It was like quick and
Yeah,
then slow, and then at one point I was thinking, how long is this movie? Because we're spending a lot of time before we even get to
the
Laputa,
castle, the
right?
castle in the sky.
The castle in the sky, yeah. And I was thinking, is it gonna end there? Like as soon as they find it, is it like finally we're here, and then roll credits?
Well, the world's a move as the credits roll up.
Yeah, but if how long was this movie?
It
Two
felt like
hours?
it didn't feel like 2 hours to me. But let's see.
It felt like they had a lot of
Oh
time.
yeah, 2 hours and 4 minutes.
It was pretty long.
There were definitely moments that I noticed there were spurts of pacing. 'cause you get like, yeah, you're thrown into it, and then she lands with Patsu, and then you have that scene where Patsu, like, wakes her up, he feeds his birds, he plays Carly Rae Jepsen from his roof and things like that.
Oh, beautiful scene. Yeah.
And then, you have this moment where he's like, "Oh, I'm Patsu, this is where I live," and yada yada, and then boom, somebody's pounding on their door, they gotta run, and then they're on the run, and then they meet the man in the mines. What's his name?
Uncle
Uncle
Palm.
Palm, Uncle Palm. And it's like, "Okay, we're gonna slow down here. We're gonna give you some lore. The rocks are gonna get all space on us." And that was a pretty slow scene. And then it's like, "Okay, we gotta go to the village. We're gonna run. People are chasing us. We gotta run." It was like spurts of slow and then fast and slow and then fast.
Until suddenly just very slow.
Yeah, yeah. And then it gets to the pirates, and then it's like, "We're here. We're pirates. We're chilling. We're having fun."
Yeah.
And then we get this long action, like this long sequence where they are at the castle in the sky, and then it just ends. Like after the castle floats away, everybody goes their own way. The ending is really abrupt. And I was really racking my brain yesterday after we watched it. I was looking around and trying to find like the ending explained, or even like a little bit of
Yeah.
Miyazaki's
173 things you missed.
for
The
Castle in
Castle
the
in the
Sky.
Sky.
And I looked up like what Miyazaki intended for the Castle in the Sky ending, and he just said he wanted to leave it open because he wanted your imagination to like think of, "Oh, what's going to happen to them? Where are they going to go?" He didn't think that he needed to make like show what happens to them. He thought that like it's kind of implied.
I wasn't thinking about what happened to them at the ending. I was thinking about, so what was this Castle in the Sky about? That's what I was left questioning because they don't answer much of it, and they don't have to. But it's just it's a mix of technology and organic life,
Mhm.
trees and roots and leaves, and then there's robots, and none of that is explained. So I'm pretty sure it's one of those things that is left to interpretation and for conversation.
There's a little bit of like nuggets they give you throughout the movie. General Muska talks about like when he's doing his little rant about like
This
the
is Mark
power.
Hamill, right?
This is Mark Hamill, yeah. He's doing his little villain monologue about like the things that I need to just call it Laputa, but I kept calling it the Castle in the Sky. We can't get around it. It's called Laputa, but
Laputa.
it's spelled
I'm not spelling it.
interestingly. And so he's talking about Laputa and how the powers of the city, like he said, like this castle in the sky was responsible for destroying Sodom and Gomorrah. So I think they're linking it back to like this is a city that was created as a means to destroy other cities and to uh like hover over people. And he mentions like the Old Testament, and I was reading into Hayao Miyazaki's inspiration for this film. He read a lot of Welsh books, from Wales, and that was how he got inspiration for like the village and like the people who live there. And then his inspiration for the actual castle in the sky came from
Yu-Gi-Oh?
not Yu-Gi-Oh, but it actually
Okay.
came from biblical and Hindu legends. So he would look at um because he said that originally he wanted to make it look like a castle, like a medieval castle that was floating around in the sky. But he didn't like the way it looked. He thought it looked too clunky and cumbersome, and he wanted more round architecture. And in Hindu, they have like these round huts. And then in biblical legends, if you were to look at like, um, what was it like when the Jews were living under the Roman occupation, they had kind of these round houses made out of almost like a mud. It was like clay mixture. And so he liked the way that looked. And that was how he got inspiration to create Laputa and like the city that it was. And you know how the movie kind of opens up with all of those cities in the sky? You see kind of multiple ones floating in the
Yeah.
opening. And then there's like a picture of some like a woman like blowing wind and the air, and that's how you see like Hayao
Right.
Miyazaki. Like, so that's supposed to be a little bit of a implied origin story that at one point there was multiple cities in the sky, and the Laputa itself was the capital. That was where like the ruling family was. But that these other cities, they somehow got technology from uh like a power higher than they are, and they used that to create all this amazing technology and things like that. And it's a little bit, do you know the story of like the Tower of Babel?
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of Babel-y, where they got this technology and they were using it, but then that brought like they got too close to the sun, and that brought them down, because
It had
then
nothing to do with language. It was just the idea of
like
the vision.
we're gonna defy this higher power and create like this technology beyond our control, and then that's
Okay.
what pushed them out. Because then later on in the movie, Sheeta is telling Patsy that like her grandmother told her that her family left Laputa because they believed that nobody should have the power that Laputa has.
So it sounds like there's a lot more interesting things going on in the background
Yeah, there's a lot more interesting things in the hidden lore side
than
of
the
it.
story than that was told.
Because even like at the end of the movie, Laputa is seen ascending into the air. Like it's just almost like as if you're returning the power from which it came from back to the source.
Yeah, was a necklace left there?
No, that well, wait. Yeah, because I think so. That's why it was like glowing and stuff.
Because they held it in their hand together.
Mhm.
I don't think they were able to hold it after the huge explosion and rubble.
Once they said the destruction spell, it was like and then they're not holding it, or she's not wearing it at the end. She leaves it there.
Yeah, that's why I didn't think much of what happened with them because in many different scenes, their goal is just to say, "All right, you could go over there, but just leave us alone. Don't hurt us."
Yeah, they didn't want any of the treasure or anything. They just wanted to be left
Yeah.
alone.
So I assume they're just living happily in wherever Sheeta came from. I think I wrote it down.
Gondola?
Gondola, yeah. I'm assuming they're hanging out on Gondola now. But
They go to visit.
all my questions are about what you were just mentioning. Like, why is this castle in the sky? I'm sure, like ancient powers, mysterious forces, and things like that. But then why does it look that way? Why are there these robots? What are they guarding? Why are they guarding it? Why are they still there? And then there's no one there. There's nothing to guard anymore. It's just a floating island with a castle on it that does nothing anymore. I don't know if it has any effect on the earth that yeah, because it does it's hidden by like windstorms and things like that, but I don't know if it's doing that on its own. But I was left more questioning everything outside of the characters pretty much.
Yeah, like the circumstances. The what I was noticing is how uninhabitable it is. Like I find it really hard to believe people used to live there.
There's water, there's trees.
There was that moment in the movie where they panned down and like it's all filled with water, like that kind of Atlantis-y looking part of the
Right.
town.
The city underwater.
That looks more like, okay, maybe people used to live there, but then why is it filled with water? And then they're in the air. It's not like as if half the city is submerged in water like Atlantis. I was just like, what? What was happening here?
I thought there were just amphibious beings that lived there.
Lizard people? Mark Zuckerberg? This is where he came from?
Oh wait, is that wrong? Aquatic beings that live there. Aquatic creatures
Amphibian.
that live.
I feel like that also fits because that's like what? That's frogs?
I thought so.
Yeah, I think.
Well, yeah, I just assumed people lived in the water. People, or creatures, aliens, whatever, lived in the water and they could breathe underwater. Because this is a very mystical floating island.
Yeah,
It makes no
yeah.
sense how there's a giant tree with its roots. It's not getting nutrients from anything. The roots are just dangling out, right? We're not supposed to think this deeply about it. But I'm just saying,
That's what we're
this
here
is
to
how it
do.
looks. But
I think
that's what
it's
we're here to do.
I think it's drawing its energy from that. that crystal because all the roots were kind of centered around it.
Right. And then Sheeta's charm, her little necklace
Mhm.
stone. Yeah, how is that missing? It's Ethereum, right? So how does she get that piece? Why does it need that final piece for what? Like what
I don't think it's missing from the crystal, like the main crystal in the city. I think that that's supposed to be like the remote control to the TV.
turns
And
on the castle?
yeah, it turns on it works the castle, it activates things within the castle. And I feel like that was given to like the royal family because even like Sheeta's grandmother, when she gave her the necklace, said like, this is passed down from generation to generation, and now it's yours. So I think that that is because she's like she's a direct descendant of the rulers of Laputa, so it was passed down and given to her, and that is like supposed to be like the remote control to Laputa. It points the way to Laputa. It's like a little wayfinder. And then when you get there, it works on that little like control panel that Mark Hamill was using.
Right.
So I think it's
It
just
gave him
supposed
access to a lot of
yeah,
doors
a lot of
and
doors,
hallways.
the robots.
Yeah. But I'm not too sure about this movie. It's slightly interesting, but even after, well, more so after what you explained to me, I feel like there's a lot more interesting story to be told from behind the scenes of what we got.
I want a prequel of this movie.
Yeah, that got me thinking. Studio Ghibli, they don't do any sequels.
They don't do anything. I think the closest thing they've done is a story within a story, kind of like Fantastic Beasts and Harry Potter.
So a spinoff?
Yes, there Whisper of the Heart. The main character, she wants to be a writer. And so then there's a supposed sequel and it's called The Cat Returns, and that's supposed to be the book that she wrote.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I thought that that was really cool too, as a neat, especially because Whisper of the Heart, I mentioned it on this podcast and to you before. It's kind of about these two kids that don't know what to do with their life. They feel this pressure that they have to grow up and know what to do, what to major in, and what to make of their life. And it has to be like money focused. It can't be like passion projects and things like that. But it's kind of like their story about how they learn to balance that and how to stay true to themselves and things like that. So, the main character, she wants to be a writer. And throughout the movie, her family, her sister, they're all telling her, like, you have to, like, not like you have to, but there's that implication of, oh, well, when you get a job, you can help us out. Like, they want her to immediately go into like a well paying job and to just, just make money and then help out the family. And she's over here like, well, I want to be a writer. And they're like, that doesn't pay. Like, that's not a job that's going to pay well. So then to kind of get that unofficial ending is with The Cat Returns, where it's based on the book she writes from the end of the movie.
So she wrote a hit.
She wrote a hit. Studio Ghibli adapted it.
Good for her.
But that's the closest they've gotten to there being some kind of continuity.
It sounds pretty relatable too. That's pretty good.
I like it. I like it a lot. I like both movies too, just as a whole.
But let me ask you about this because I don't know how many times you've seen Castle in the Sky.
Oof,
I know you saw Spirited Away a lot, but you
many.
rewatched this recently.
Yes.
What do you what like where do you hold this movie amongst the rest, and how do you like it? Especially on the rewatch, what do you think of it now?
I think I had fonder memories of it when I first watched it. Um, if I was to rank it, I haven't done like a whole Ghibli ranking. I would definitely put it middle tier. It's not like my top 5, but it is maybe like number 6 in that ranking list.
That's not too far off.
Yeah,
That's still
yeah.
pretty high up because there's over 20 movies.
Mhm.
Mid
Mhm.
would be 10.
That's true, you're right. But it's not top 5, but it's definitely like my 6th favorite of the Ghibli films. On the rewatch, I had a lot of memories from like the music, the score. I really like the soundtrack of this movie. I like how different. It's not just it has orchestra pieces, but there's also like digital sounds in it. A lot of it's whenever they're in Laputa.
Right.
And I really dug that. I like that there's a kind of an otherworldly feel even from the music whenever you're on Laputa. I think that that was a nice touch. Um, I think I was just, you know what? I'm gonna get into it. I was a little bit unimpressed by Sheeta, the character. I feel like she, I'm used to, I guess, because it's been so many years since this movie came out and since Ghibli's developed and Miyazaki, by extension, has developed his story writing. I'm used to his female characters not behaving like your typical female character. And Sheeta, I feel like, is the typical anime female protagonist.
She needed more help, or she didn't affect as much of the story.
Yeah, I feel like she was just a little bit too. I don't want to be all like she's not strong enough and like hate on her for that, because I think it's good to have a variety of women, even if like you can have some strong women, you can have some women who just need a little bit more help. But her character, her behavior just felt very typical anime protagonist girl, where it's like she cries after like when even when she's holding on to Patsu and she's crying, I'm like, girl, why are you crying? Why are you crying? Like he rescued you from like this, what's it called? That it was whenever the robot died. That's when. And I was like, why are you crying? You were running away from it. Why are you crying?
Well, that was supposed to be the moment where she cried for the robot, right?
Did the robot needed to be cried for? I just
That's what I was thinking when I saw that moment. I thought, wait, I didn't get the bonding yet.
yeah, that's and I'm the one, I love robots. I say thank you to my Siri. I
Of
love
course,
robots.
yeah.
But it just felt a little bit contrived. And I mean, I get it. Like you see the robot, he's not doing anything to hurt her. I'm able to pick on like the robot's not evil, but she's like she's fearful. She's running away from it. She's screaming, and then it picks her up and looks like King Kong style, but it's protecting her. And so she's like, "Let me go, let me go." And whenever it puts her down, so Potsie can come rescue her, and it dies, she starts crying, and I'm like, "What? Make up your mind. Why are you crying?"
Yeah, that's how I felt. I understand the moment. It's supposed to be crying for it, but I don't think we got there yet. It was too soon.
And that's what I mean, where I think she's a little bit typical anime protagonist, just anime girl protagonist. I feel like anybody else, any of the other female characters that Miyazaki has created, he's just, I don't know, he got a lot more smarter when it came to writing women than Castle in the Sky. But I mean, I give this movie a lot of leeway because it's the first. They're just developing their own style, and so I'm not gonna like rip on it too much, or kind of be a little bit more critical about it. But I think it was not as good on the rewatch as when I first watched it.
Yeah, I also wanted to say that as a too anime or too cliche as Sheeta was, I did think her relationship with Patsu was more convincing
Oh
than
yeah.
Hiro and
Chihiro and Haku.
yeah, yeah. I actually felt like these two people like each other and the same amount.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
actually care for each other.
They actually care for each other. They're equally like in love. And
Invested.
the movie never told us like the way it did with Spirit Away, like, oh, that's love for you. Like that it's actually never, they never tell each other they like each other. They never, there's nobody ever saying like, Patsu's in love with her or things like that. There's nobody saying that, but you could really feel the bond between the two of them.
Yeah. I think there was one moment where he was in the town and somebody said,
Oh, somebody's got to protect your friend.
it was something close to that. No, it was like, oh, I think they said like your girlfriend or something like in a teasing kind of way.
Mm.
But besides that, yeah, it wasn't like Spirited Away where it's like that's love. They're in love. Love is gonna guide them. I don't know. I forgot what else I said. But it was like that, and I think it was more convincing here. I was more convinced.
Patsu is so smooth. He's such a smooth little boy. I know
Yeah,
they actually aged them up in the English version, because in Japanese, they're supposed to be around 13, 14. And when it came over to the US, uh, Ratzenberg, Lasseter, my bad, John Lasseter, said that he was like, let's age them up a little bit. They go through a lot for 13-year-olds. So his goal was to make them sound more 16, 17.
They don't even look 13, 14 to me.
How old they
I
look
thought
to
they
you?
were much younger.
You thought they were much younger?
Maybe 9 or 10.
Oh, I think that's too young. I believed like 13.
They look way too small and young.
Definitely in comparison to the other buff guys in that town.
There's a lot of buff guys. They
A lot,
could flex their shirts off.
a lot of brolic dudes.
Yeah.
That felt the most anime. That
That
whole
was you're
scene.
right. Yeah, that was very anime.
That whole scene felt really anime. The music, the flexing to with like to rip your shirts and
Oh yeah, so let me say that because you mentioned the music already. I think I only called it out once, but it was a few times where I felt the music doesn't match what's going on right now.
yeah, you called that out for that scene that we just spoke about, and I wanted to know like what else, what other moments.
I can't remember the other moments, but I know it was all the way up until they reach Laputa. Once they get past the windstorm, I think every moment after that, the music was very memorable and it fit perfectly. It really stood out to me. I'm like, wow, this is actually very good. But before then, I felt like 50% of the time, I thought this is a strange choice. It's not fitting with the what I would think should be what I should be hearing right now.
Yeah,
But after that, it was really, really good.
I agree. Once they got to Laputa, oh, I love it. But I distinctly remember two occasions. One is the one where yeah, like they're flexing and things like that. But the second one is that railroad chase scene.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
felt like the music didn't really fit what would be happening on a railroad chase scene. I can't
You
remember.
wanted to hear a western?
No.
Okay.
I'm thinking of that like Super Mario, oh, not what's that, Paper Mario or something where it's like
Bow, 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 bow. No, that's a N64
Oh, okay, okay.
Yoshi's Island
Yes.
track, I think.
Yep, yep.
It's a farm something with Yoshi, I don't know, but yeah, N64 uh Mario Kart.
I need to make an edit of that of that song over.
If it fits.
Yeah. I feel like it not that I wanted that, but that the music should have been a little bit more, I don't know, I guess like faster paced and playful. And I
Yeah,
think the music was a little bit, it didn't fit as much for that scene. It was kind of serious. It was a lot of like bum 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 bum, and it was just really, it didn't fit like a, it's a railroad chase scene between three separate parties and it was all chaotic and stuff. I feel like there's just a little bit more you could do to expand that tone of that scene, whether it be like in a playful direction or in a little bit more of like a, I mean, it's a railroad, so it's not as if this is a high-powered car chase scene. I think a railroad chase scene affords a little bit more playfulness because it's they're all going one direction. You're all stuck on
right.
a track. So I don't know. I feel like there's just a little bit more that they could experiment with, but that's the thing about this is that a lot of it has the makings of greatness, but there's just something a little bit off, and I keep giving it the excuse. It's the first Ghibli movie. It's the first Ghibli movie.
But then look at A Bug's Life. That's a masterpiece.
You think so?
No.
I was like, Tony.
I remember seeing that as a kid with very low bar quality. I'm like, this isn't very good.
All right, next week we're watching A Bug's Life.
But yeah, I think it being the first movie, yeah, you could give it a little bit of give it a little bit of slack.
I want to do a little story time with you
What happened?
about the this being the first movie.
Okay,
I want to give you and our fans, our little listeners here, some a short story into how Studio Ghibli was made and vice versa, how this film was made.
let's hear it.
So in 1985, Japanese filmmakers Hayao Miyazaki and Isao Takehata left their animation studios together with a mutual friend named Toshio Suzuki to create what is now Studio Ghibli. Before the creation of Studio Ghibli, Hayao Miyazaki worked at an animation studio called Tokuma Shoten. There, he was paid low wages. he said in an interview that 1/3 of his paycheck went to his rent, and the other 2/3 was for food and for drinking after he would get out of work.
Dang, he needs 2/3 for that?
He said that he was paid to do extremely repetitive work. All he would do was draw animation cells and then submit them. Anytime he went to his supervisor with his idea of his own story, he was repeatedly rejected, saying to just focus on his work and to not step out of bounds. He eventually got tired of this and decided to create his own manga as a way of like his outlet for creativity. And that manga was called Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. And that was his kind of passion project for a couple of years. And then he met Isao Takehata and he found like a kindred spirit within him. They immediately got really friendly with each other. They had the same ideals, they had the same passion when it came to animation. And Hayao Miyazaki even consulted with Isao Takehata on his manga Nausicaa, and they became fast friends. Well, Isao Takehata worked at another animation studio called Animage, and there he met Toshio Suzuki. And he talked to him about Miyazaki and how he had this friend that was brilliant and that was so wonderful in his story making. And Suzuki, who was a producer, so he was, while Takehata was an animator, Suzuki had a little bit more leeway and pull with how to make the movie happen. So he said, you know what, call this Miyazaki over. I want to sit down with him and see what this story is about that you're always going on about. So Miyazaki met with Takehata and Suzuki, and he showed him his manga of Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. And Suzuki was immediately like enthralled with this story. So he said, "You know what? Why don't you leave your job, come work at Animage instead, and we're gonna make Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind." And so Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind was made in 1983, and it was a huge success. And it was the first time that Miyazaki, Takehata, and Suzuki worked together. And they said that it was like magic. It was like all the gears of the machine had finally come together, and they actually had fun making and animating a movie. And this was where Suzuki was like, hey, why don't we do this again? Like, why don't we make our own studio? So they had to get together and they got, what's it called? They pitched their ideas to Animage and said, "Hey, we want to make a studio. We want to make a film company, like an animation studio." And so Animage was like, "Okay, but you're going to be a subsidiary of our company. So you're going to be like a little bit of how we have like Pixar Team B kind of thing. That's going to be Studio Ghibli." And so they were like, okay, because at least they were getting funding, they were able to do this. And they had the same people who worked on the Nausicaa movie in 83. Everybody in that movie had so much fun together. They came back and they made what is now Castle on the Sky in 1986. And that was after they worked on Castle in the Sky. They loved what they did so much and they wanted to stay that way. So they instead decided, we're not going to be a subsidiary. We're going to go and do our own thing with the money we've earned back from Castle in the Sky. And we're going to make Studio Ghibli its own studio.
So they were independent at that point. They could fund themselves.
Yes. After Castle in the Sky, what's funny too is they didn't do well at the box office at all. It wasn't like this was a blockbuster hit. It topped all the records, but they did earn back money. They did make a profit. And with that, they decided, we're not going to pay ourselves. We're going to put this into the company and we're going to go independent.
We'll cut back on the beer, and that should save
No more
about
drinking. No more
one third of the
drinking
budget.
after work.
I was gonna ask that too because this had to have been some sort of hit for it to return a profit.
It returned a profit. It didn't do that well in the box office, but it did do really well in critical reception. It got really good reviews from people who watched it.
And this was actually in theaters.
Yes.
So animated movies at this time was already a big thing.
I'm trying to think. I can't attest for that. I didn't do research into that aspect. I think animated movies were for kids, like the way it kind of is here.
Right?
Where it's like you would, and they would, if you look at like some of the movies they made from their perspective studios before they left, a lot of it was really kid ish. movies, like fairy tale-y. Miyazaki, before he worked on Nausicaa, worked on a movie called Gulliver's Travels, and it was an anime movie. And he actually took a lot of inspiration from that movie to Castle in the Sky. Like Gulliver's Travels, the city that Gulliver lives on is called Laputa. So here, that's like
Oh, there you go.
in
Shout out.
Castle, yeah, Castle in the Sky. But a lot of, if like I looked at some of the screenshots and the posters for a lot of these movies, they definitely feel more kid-y, like aimed towards children.
So, do you know at what point during Studio Ghibli's career were they established? Like, they made it? Because this was the first movie. How many more movies until people, they gained the trust of the audience and they knew, all right, we're going to see a Studio Ghibli movie. This is going to be high quality, good stuff.
I think it was My Neighbor Totoro, which is their third film. After Castle in the Sky, like I said, I think I've mentioned before, they used to take turns. So Hayao Miyazaki would direct a film, and then the next movie after that would be Isao Takehata, and then it would be Hayao Miyazaki, and then it would be Isao, like something like that. And so after Castle in the Sky, it was a movie called Grave of Fireflies, which is considered one of the saddest movies of all time.
Really?
It's so like I watched it and I couldn't finish it because it's so sad.
You never finished it?
I haven't finished it. I know what happens. It's been out for years. It came out in
So, you're confirming that there's a dog in this movie?
no, it's not
Okay.
a dog. 1988. And
So, this was their second movie.
it's their second movie. It's about two brothers, two young boys. One is he's like 15 years old, and then the other one is maybe 7 or 8. And it's set during World War II. And it's a really sad movie. It's called Grave of Fireflies, so I think
I don't get it.
you can already kind of
All right,
understand
all right.
what's going to happen in this movie.
So, is this
So
one of their only movies where it follows a young male protagonist as opposed to a young female protagonist?
I
Because I thought that was one of their things.
think so. No, well, it might be one of the only ones that follows only two boys and not like a boy and a girl.
Yeah,
Because a lot of the movies will follow a boy and a girl or just a girl.
right.
But this is
Yeah,
one of
that's
the
what I
only
meant.
yeah, this is one of the only ones that doesn't. Well, no, Porco Rosso follows a boy and it's only him,
Okay. But it's always children or young teenagers.
except Porco Rosso. But yeah,
And what's that one about?
it's about a pilot who's a pig. He,
Oh, okay. But a young pig, a
no,
young
no,
child. But oh,
he's played by Michael Keaton
no way,
in the dub. Yeah,
no way.
yeah.
Why did we not watch that? Well, that's next, right?
I
According
have
to James Gunn's
yeah.
recommendation.
According to James Gunn, this is next. I've never seen it too. This would be brand new for me.
We were supposed to watch Earwig and the Witch, but Caroline opposed.
I did not want to watch a bad Ghibli movie
How do you know it's bad? You
because
didn't see it. We don't
it's.
trust Rotten Tomatoes
I'm
anymore.
not saying Rotten Tomatoes. I'm just saying even Hayao Miyazaki said this is one of
Oh
the
yeah,
worst films
I
in
have ever
Studio
seen in my
Ghibli
entire life.
in the Studio Ghibli lineup. Couldn't even compliment his own son.
I wish I can go back in time and destroy this film.
I want to respect Miyazaki's wishes and treat this film like it never existed.
I think we have to judge for ourselves. What does he think about the Earthsea one?
I think I read it to you and I spirited away, but he's the one that said like it's a film. I can't say anything about it because it's my kid, but it's a film.
Oh, okay. All right, that's the one.
That's the Tales of Earthsea one.
You see? Your brother likes that one.
Davey does like that one.
So we have to decide for ourselves.
I would rather watch Tales of Earthsea over Earwig.
We have to cover it all. This is the Ghibli journey,
The Ghibli Journey.
and we're ranking it. So far, in my
Spir-
ranking,
Spirit
Spirited
Away.
Away 1,
Spirit Away.
House of the Sky 2.
Yeah, yeah.
I've only seen these two.
I'm starting my ranking fresh as we go through this Ghibli journey alongside. So, yeah, Spirit Away 1, Castle in the Sky 2.
Also, I think it will be a mistake if we don't mention all the Sonic references. Is that okay? Is that okay if I bring this up,
Oh,
Kayla?
please hit me, please. I want to make this a montage in the highlight.
All right. You tell me if I miss one, okay?
Okay.
Number one, we have Dr. Eggman.
He's present. He's here
He's here. Number two, we have Sonic Rings, visible in the foreground of a shot of this movie.
with Dr. Eggman too. Like he's in
Yes.
it, and then you see rings.
Number three, we do have a Master Emerald,
Yep,
but it's blue.
it's blue.
Number four, we do have Chaos Emeralds, which
Yep.
I called Infinity Stones, but you're the Sonic fan, so you called them Chaos Emeralds.
There's a little bit of something for everybody in this movie.
And number five, this takes place on Earth. So that means there is a Green Hill zone, a Green Hill town, because it's on Earth.
Where a certain donut lord resides.
I don't think that's a stretch to say that because it's Earth, then that therefore means there's a Green Hill.
I did see a lot of green hills and when they flew over
Yeah,
the town.
It could have been as they were passing over.
It's not a stretch to think that one of those hills is where the favorite blue blur resides.
So that's what I had. I don't know if I missed any, but
I think just the beak on the airship is very Dr. Eggman-y. That's all I
perfect.
got.
All right.
Dun, 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 dun.
So that was our Sonic aside.
Also, did you know I was looking this up because remember how we were talking about while we were watching the movie that because we were saying like, oh, Mark Hamill's in this movie and Mark Hamill plays a villain for everybody, FYI. But we were thinking like, oh, that this came out in America the year it came out in Japan, like Spirited Away.
Yeah.
So this is like Mark Hamill fresh off of his Return of the Jedi clout and things like that. I found out no, the first movie of Ghibli's that came to America was Kiki's Delivery Service, which is the fourth movie in the Studio Ghibli lineup. And so it was after Kiki, and it was Kiki's Delivery Service. They didn't do the movie after that. They did Porco Rosso, and then they did Whisper of the Heart. Like the movie selection was really selective. Ghibli didn't earn enough clout to do a movie year after year in America until Spirited Away. That was where it's like, okay, every movie after Spirited Away was put in the US the year it came out.
Gotcha.
And so because before that it was just selective. It was just like, oh, that movie was pretty good. We'll get it. We'll bring it to the US. But after Spirited Away, it was like boom, boom, boom. And Castle in the Sky was one of those movies. After Spirited Away's success, that's where it's like, hey, we got to bring these older films over to the US because Spirited Away was like the gateway for a lot of people discovering Miyazaki and his films. So the dub for Castle in the Sky was actually done in 2003. It's a 17-year
So
difference.
wow, yeah. At that point, it was the prequel era.
Yeah. Yeah. This was when did Batman the animated series come out?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Cuz I'm thinking is this his Joker era? I feel it's Joker.
We heard some Joker. We heard a little bit of Joker slipping through.
Oh yeah, this is 1992 till 1995. That was Batman the animated series.
Oh, so he definitely pulled from that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He'd already been Joker.
Okay. So also you made a good observation too when we were watching this because we found James Gunn's top 3 list for various things and his top 3 Ghibli movies were Spirited Away, then Castle in the Sky, right?
No, Spirit Away, Porco Rosso, and then Castle in the
And then
Sky.
Castle in the Sky, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was that scene where you have the robot handing the flower to
Yes,
Sheeta,
Toshida.
and you pointed
It's
out it's very Groot pointing, growing like I think it was a dandelion.
yeah, or I thought it was like a flower, but I think it was a dandelion
I think he grew it. Yeah, he grew it and handed it.
to the little girl.
Yeah, I wonder if there's any other things that he took as inspiration for
Well,
Guardians.
I can tell you it wasn't just James Gunn that was inspired by Castle in the Sky.
Oh, I know that for sure.
Joss Whedon for Age of Ultron was I actually found this.
Wait, this is real?
Yes.
Because I
Look
made that joke.
look in the Discord. Look in the Discord.
In Avengers: Age of Ultron, the Laputa robot from Castle in the Sky, a movie created by Studio Ghibli, can be found during Ultron's first appearance. This was added by the wishes of Whedon, who is a big fan of the films by Hayao Miyazaki. Let me enhance this.
You see that?
Oh, yeah.
It's the
Oh my
robot in
gosh.
Tony Stark's lab.
Oh my gosh, it's real.
Yeah.
Ultron's plan is
Yeah.
literally the castle in the sky.
Yeah, it is. It all
I
comes
called
full
that.
circle. You
I
did.
called that.
You did.
Wow.
What's funny is I had already had this picture saved to my computer from before we watched the movie. And when you said that while we watched the movie, I was like, oh, oh,
Oh.
he's getting
Let me
it.
keep my mouth shut.
He's getting it on his own.
He's beginning to believe.
Exactly. Exactly.
That is so interesting. Wow. Wow. I'm surprised.
You were on it. You called it.
All right.
I even went to IMDb. They have a section for Castle in the Sky called Connections,
Right.
where it's any movie that has made a connection to Castle in the Sky. And Age of Ultron is listed as a connection.
That's a huge connection.
And it says in IMDb, the climax of the film is inspired by this movie. Also, the robot can be seen in Tony Stark's lab.
There's a robot in Age of Ultron. The big piece of land gets destroyed over a huge body of water.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Man, look at that.
Another reason for me to like Age of Ultron.
Another reason why it's your favorite Avengers.
Yeah.
Only you.
Only yeah, you gotta be different every now and then.
Of course, yeah. You don't want to go with the flow.
I
Be
like
one
it.
in the crowd.
I like it a lot. And this is just another reason why I like it.
It's really cool to see that robot there.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of want to
Wow.
rewatch the movie and see if I could find it in motion.
I make. I don't know. I see the leg kind of cut off.
I see the leg kind of cut off. I see the hand.
Yeah, I have to rewatch a movie with Castle in the Sky in mind to see if Whedon made any other connections.
Castle in the Sky on the brain.
Yeah,
I'm looking at YouTube just to see if I can find somebody with like the big
Easter egg
old
videos.
thumbnail where it's like you missed this in Avengers Age of Ultron and have it like big red arrow
I
pointing to the
wonder if
foot.
anyone called that out. Yeah,
I'm looking and I don't see anything.
I'm trying to think if Iron Man's chest piece is supposed to be Ethereum.
Oh.
I don't think so. I'm trying to connect it where there are no connections.
I'm gonna draw some line. I don't see anything about Iron Man's thingy being Ethereum.
That's all right.
I'm seeing a lot of cryptocurrency results.
Wait, you don't think these
Oh,
cryptocurrency websites got
oh,
inspiration
you don't think
from Castle in the Sky to name their
cryptocurrency
currency?
and Castle in the Sky? Hmm.
They named it the same thing.
Who named this cryptocurrency? Was it General Mushka? Hmm.
So what was the third movie again? One more time.
Porco Rosso.
Porco Rosso. All right.
Porco Rosso.
We got to finish James Gunn's top 3 so that I can understand the Marvel Cinematic Universe and Guardians of the Galaxy. That is so interesting.
I wonder
And
if we're gonna
who pointed this
see
out?
what
Who
the.
pointed out the Age of Ultron thing?
It was an article on me, like something. I just closed the tab.
That was a mistake.
I know. Images. Hang on, hang on. It's on animenewsnetwork.com, but it's also like where I found that picture was on a place called meme.me.me. And it's just like a little bit of a.
Me.me?
They posted a lot of like Age of
Memes?
Ultron. Well, I'm getting a bunch of pictures where it's like people pointing out Age of Ultron Easter eggs. There's also one where it's like It's a page filled with pictures like this where it's just like little fun facts about Age of Ultron,
Yeah.
and that's one of them.
So me.
Yeah.
That's your meme database?
No, it's my I found them all on Google Images. It
Okay.
just led me there.
Okay, I gotcha.
That's where the breadcrumbs led
What is
me.
your meme database?
Don't worry about it.
Twitter.
No, maybe. Some of them.
It's Twitter.
Some of them.
Most of them.
Some of them.
Most of them.
Some of them.
Where's most of them then?
I just find them randomly on my internet adventures.
You just scour the internet for your memes?
I just listen, I don't look for the memes. They come to me.
No, you look for them. No. You're following specific groups of people.
What? No. That's how you
Yes.
find the really like cringy memes. If you follow meme pages, a lot of times they're cringy.
Nah, I think you just have a different taste for them now because you've been saturated with them, and you have to go deeper to find something.
A lot of times it'll be like I'm reading manga and the manga website that I go to read my manga has comments. And so people in the comments will post funny like reaction memes and things like that and I'll save them. It gets a good laugh out of me. I get them from Twitter. I get them
That's what you find
from
not cringy.
That's where I find just funny ones.
Manga comment section memes.
Yeah, that's a niche meme market right there. That's like going to the farm.
Untapped is an
That's
untapped gold mine.
it's an untapped well of possibilities. It's like going to the farmers market. That's true grassroots memes right
Yeah,
there.
you're keeping it local,
Yeah,
and then
yeah, I gotta
reselling it.
support my local meme poster.
Wow, how do we get here? I don't know.
We got here from me.me.
Me. But yeah, I guess the last thing I'll say, because there's not much. I don't think there's that much to this movie. Honestly, I think it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I agree.
Very mysterious with the background stuff, but straightforward in the story that it told. It's just this mysterious little rock that they have to find out where it came from. They go to where they heard a castle in the sky once was, and that's kind of it. Not much more gets answered. And then, there's nice characters and pirates and things, but yeah, I would just say it felt like it wasn't too deep.
I feel like if we were to have watched this movie the year it came out, like if we were to time travel and be within the audience of things, I feel like we would be a little bit more impressed because I'm thinking of the atmosphere around animation at the time and how these movies typically were, the audience they were engineered towards and things like that. I feel like we would be more impressed with this movie. It almost feels like going back and
From the
watching
story?
from a story perspective and animation perspective. It's almost like if you were to go back and watch something like Snow White. You know how Snow White came out in the 40s?
Yeah.
And if you were to like that when that movie came out, it was like, whoa, like the first ever fully animated full-length film.
Yeah.
And that wowed so many people. I feel like it's something of that. It's something of like Castle in the Sky was not afraid to put action and to put children in danger and have like this advanced story that talked about all of this like the hidden lore behind the castle and things like that. I feel like we would have been more impressed if we had seen it at the time it came out in. That it's impressive for its time.
That could be it. That could be one reason.
And now that we're living in our post Spirited Away, where it's like it's
Universe.
yeah, like they've already topped themselves. This isn't the best they can do anymore. They've grown and they've been able to exceed beyond expectations into how film is made and into
Did I
how
already watch the Infinity War of Studio Ghibli, Caroline? Is that what you're telling me?
yes.
What? Is all downhill from here? Say it ain't so.
Mm,
Say it ain't so. I was on the hunt for something better.
I feel like no. I think the movies after Spirited Away are good. I think they're good. I don't think like I've mentioned to you that like my favorite Ghibli film isn't even Spirited Away. It's Howl's Moving Castle.
Right.
So the movies after Spirited Away are also really good. Ponyo is pretty good. Arriety is pretty good. There's this movie called The Tale of Princess Kaguya. I think that might be too Japanese for you, but that one's pretty good too. The movies after Spirited Away like build up on it. I think they're pretty good, but
Well, are you telling me these are the Ant-Mans and the Doctor Stranges and the Thors?
I don't know. I don't know. I think that that's just going to have to be a conclusion you might have to come to because I don't want to speak for you and be like, you might not like this and you might like this and things like that.
I think I might like one, or this is what I'm hoping. I think I might like one more than Spirited Away because after watching Spirited Away, that was my takeaway. I was thinking, I like this exact style that they did, but I want it in a different genre. I want a different story, and I think I'll like it a lot more. I'm hoping to find that.
We'll
I
have
don't know what
to,
it'll be.
that's going to be part of the Ghibli journey.
That's a Ghibli journey, yeah.
One of the movies after Spirited Away is Tales of Earthsea. It would be really funny if that's the one that scratches the itch.
It could be Earwig and the Witch. You don't know.
I don't know about that.
And
I don't know about that.
if you don't try it, you'll never know.
I'm wondering the biggest like mystery is the film that's coming out next year for Studio Ghibli. It's called How Do You Live? It's going to be Hayao Miyazaki's last film. So, we'll see
His
what
swan song.
is and nobody knows what the story is about. So, we'll see what Miyazaki has in store.
Is it 2D animated or 3D animated?
I have no idea. There's a lot of mystery around this film.
Would you be disappointed if it's 3D?
I think I would. I do.
I think you would.
I
I think a
think
lot of people would
I
be.
think I would. Yeah.
I'll be very excited.
You yeah, you would. I wouldn't be.
That's why I wanted to
Uh,
watch Earwig and the Witch.
uh, uh,
But too much opposition in the
uh.
elbow nudge office.
It's not opposition. I'm trying to save you from doing something that harms yourself.
I need to explore all aspects of this studio because now I need to get a sense of
Yeah, I need to save you from the hidden corners of this studio.
the dusty closets that shouldn't be open.
Yeah. Earwig is one of them.
I just want another track record now, because they're not all perfect.
Mhm.
Maybe some of them are. But now I want to know how many of them are considered bad. Sounds like a few now. None by Miyazaki, of course.
I wonder if I can rate the Oh yeah, look at that. On Wikipedia, you can like look at we don't follow Rotten Tomatoes, but you can sort by Rotten Tomatoes score.
All right, we'll take this as some sort of reference, but
It's a observation by somebody else. It's like somebody giving
yeah.
us a third hand opinion.
Okay.
80% of their movies have a score of 85 and higher. The lowest movies, like the stinkers, are Earwig, Tales of Earthsea,
Sorry, Davey.
and My Neighbor the Yamadas, which is
What were those scores?
the score is 30% on Earwig. Where's the other one? 43% on Tales of Earthsea.
Wow.
And then it jumps up. My Neighbor the Yamadas has 78.
That's not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's
It's
right
just
under an 80.
none of the other Ghibli movies have gone below that. None of the Ghibli movies have gone before 85, below
Right.
85. So My Neighbor the Yamadas hitting 78 was kind of like, whoa. Spirited Away has a 97? What? What?
Not good enough?
What? Should be a 100.
I think Toy Story has 100.
What?
Yeah.
What? I'm sorry, Toy Story. But Spirited Away is the greatest animated movie of all time.
Hey, this is in his own realm, 3D.
That's true. Okay,
Once
that's
you
true.
graduate to 3D, then you're
Graduate.
competing.
2D animation is just as good as 3D animation, mister.
Look at Studio Ghibli's 3D output.
One, and it's
Look
the
how they
worst.
compete. Look
It's
how
the
they
worst.
compete
It's the
on that
worst.
playing field.
It's the worst.
Yeah, you're making my point.
I'm just saying that means that 3D doesn't necessarily mean greatest of all time.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm saying once you're in that playing field, there's different competitors there, Caroline.
I do know there's a cycle of animation influences because Studio Ghibli was doing their stuff in 2D and Pixar was taking influence from Ghibli. They would watch Ghibli films and say, "Okay, let's try to do something like that but with 3D." And that's how Pixar got like the ball rolling with their
Yeah.
own influence. And then later on with Earwig, when Earwig was in development, Goro Miyazaki was like, "Let's do what Pixar's doing and try to do 3D." So there was like a little bit of a influence circle there. We've come full circle now.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's the way it should be.
Mm, let's not get crazy there, mister.
What do you mean? No, this is supportive. This is
Oh,
really
okay,
nice.
okay.
It's like I'm inspired by your work. I'm inspired by your work. You know
I
that kind of
thought it
thing.
was something else that you were saying that like everybody should take influence from Pixar.
No, no, I'm not bringing it to that. I'm being reasonable. No, but I will say if we're talking about Toy Story and Spirited Away now, because I guess Toy Story is the highest rated Pixar movie. I'm not sure if it's at 100. It's got to be the highest rated. But I'll say Spirited Away is more interesting. But I think I would watch Toy Story just because it's just easier to consume. It's more rewatchable. That's just me. I'm not speaking from a general audience.
Yeah, that is just you.
But yeah, is it 100? Did you see it?
I'm looking it up right now. There are 2 Pixar movies that are 100%. And
Toy Story
it's
1, Toy Story 3.
Toy Story 1, Toy Story 2.
Oh dang,
Yeah.
3 it was a fantastic ending though.
3 was a good ending, but my favorite is Toy Story 2. I wouldn't watch Toy Story 1 again, but I was addicted to Toy Story 2 as a kid. My mom even we don't celebrate Halloween. I was raised not to celebrate Halloween, but we had the alternative, which was Hallelujah night. And
Excuse me.
you would you would go to church. You would
Hallelujah, Woody.
you would go to church dressed up in a costume as a way to like that was your workaround. And my mom made me a Jessie costume.
I have to bring up what Carl said. I'm giving Carl credit. Like, did it? You just go as you normally go since you're Texan. Everyone is dressed as Woody. Everyone's dressed as Woody and Jesse all the
No, this
time.
was like overt. Like I had the pants. You know, she has like the cow print on the pants, and
Yeah,
I had the red hat. I had the yellow shirt and things like that. Like I was Jessie. My mom even like put my hair in a braid and things.
I've dressed as Woody before as a kid. I have
Really?
pictures. Yeah, I have pictures of being Woody. Yeah.
I need to dig up my Jessie picture. I don't even know if we took a picture.
Now, did he ever dress up as anyone from Spirited Away or Howl's Moving Castle?
No, I didn't. No,
There
I
you go,
didn't.
Pixar.
I will tell you
What
what though.
up? Oh, what's up?
I got I guess like I dressed up a little bit as Howl, but it wasn't intentional. I just kind of you know the term Disney bounding? You
No.
know, when people you know how Disney World doesn't allow people to go dressed as the characters because
Oh yeah, yeah.
that's like against the rules. So they've worked around it and they've created Disney bound where they'll get outfits. I'm gonna send you like a couple of examples. They'll get an outfit inspired by the character.
Right. So
So
this is how you dress by accident.
not by accident, but it's like saying I'm not dressing as the character. I'm dressing inspired by the character.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do have a little bit of that with Howl from Howl's Moving Castle. Uh like a little bit of Ghibli bounding. I have his earrings. I bought his earrings from like an Etsy anime shop. So I have his earrings and then he wears like a pink jacket and I have a sweater that looks like the pink jacket. But that's as close as I've gotten. I never like with Jesse, I was actually dressed up as Jesse.
And this Ghibli bound was for Hallelujah night.
It was not. It was just for my own fun.
Your own night.
Yeah, it was just going out with my friends. Nobody knew. I was that meme where it's like they don't know. They don't know I'm
You didn't
dressing
tell
as
them.
No, I didn't.
You're like, hey, do I look familiar to you?
Yeah, no, I did not do that.
You've never revealed this secret that you were
Nope.
dressed.
As Howl. Nope.
So now everyone knows. Let's put on record.
Now I think Josh and Ashley. No, I don't even
Everyone
think
who hung out with you
I
that
don't even think
night,
they would know. No, I don't think they would.
they wouldn't know. What do you mean?
I don't think I hung out with them when I wore it.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, guys.
Were you out in public
I
when you wore
would.
this?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, you dress up as Jesse during Hallelujah night. That's more special.
Yeah. You saying that fast is so funny.
So Pixar will always have that.
Pixar always has that. Also, I was like a huge Finding Nemo kid. That was my
Did you dress up as Nemo
I, well, no, but
or Nemo bound?
yes. My mom took us to the Disney store the day before Nemo opened, and she bought us a bunch of, like, Nemo clothes. I had the shoes that
What's
had
that?
like, you know
Just
when you
orange?
know when you go to the Disney store and they sell, like, kid clothes with the character on it?
Oh, okay.
So she got us, like, the shoes that had Nemo on it, the shorts that were blue and they had fishes swimming around it, and then I had a T-shirt with Dory on it. And then
Wow.
she bought us a plush toy of, and I had Dory, Davy had Nemo, and then the next day when Nemo came out, it came out on a Friday, she pulled us out of school early and then took us to go see the movie.
Worth it.
Oh, so worth it. It was my one of my favorite childhood experiences.
Yeah, you're gonna always remember that. You're not gonna remember what you learned in school.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
I didn't have to. I was getting straight A's, that's why. I was like,
Oh,
next,
dang. All
next,
right, brag about
next,
it.
next. Let's go.
All right, so I mean, that's all I have to say about Castle in the Sky. I don't know if there's anything else we missed that you want to go over.
I think that's it for me too. Looking at my notes, this is not the fullest note sheet I've ever had, but it's fine. I think I just want to call back to what I said earlier. You know, this movie is not. I think it's good. It's not bad. It's just interesting to see where the starting point was, like the beginnings of it.
It was a good starting point.
Yeah. So for anybody who wants to see it, it's on HBO Max. HBO Max has all the Ghibli movies, which I think is amazing. Did you know in Japan, Netflix has all the Ghibli movies there? But in America, HBO Max has the rights and not Disney Plus, even though Disney has an agreement with Studio Ghibli. It's weird. It's really weird how that worked out.
Yeah, I wonder what's the history behind that, but I wouldn't be surprised of contracts and things, getting mixed up.
Mhm. Mhm.
Sony having Spider Man, Universal having Hulk, weird things like that. So yeah,
Paramount having Sonic, and now that's why I can't see Sonic on Amazon.
you could rent it though, right?
No. Wait.
You can't rent Sonic.
Well, I don't know if wait, I think you can rent it, but like I bought Sonic on Vudu and I thought it was going to transfer to my Movies Anywhere. Because if you have Movies Anywhere
Yeah,
connected to all those things, you get it everywhere. Well, I was looking because I bought it and then I was like, all right, why isn't it showing up in my like Movies Anywhere app? And no, it doesn't count. If you go to like their list of movies that are
or
blocked,
platforms that are supported.
if you go Movies Anywhere has a list of films that are blocked from going to the platform. And it's like a long list. And if you scroll down to the S's, Sonic the Hedgehog is one of them.
Really?
Hmm.
So that
So
means Sonic too.
I can only yeah, Sonic and Sonic 2 I can only watch on Vudu,
Wow.
which is insane.
Well, there you go. All right.
Yeah. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. If you want, please give us a like, subscribe, hit the bell icon if you're hearing us on YouTube. If you're hearing us on your favorite podcasting platform, if you want to hear more from us, give us a follow. Hit the bell icon as well if you want to get those notifications and an honest review, please. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a good night.